Man conquers the world by conquering himself. Zeno of Citium. There's a reason why some men effortlessly captivate women while others struggle. It's not about luck, looks, or cheesy pickup lines. It's about presence, control, and understanding the psychology of attraction. Stoics spent their lives mastering the art of human nature, and they understood one truth: women are drawn to men who embody strength, stability, and authenticity. If you want to know the things that make a woman's heart melt, things that go beyond superficial attraction and tap into deep psychological triggers, then watch this video until the end. And while you're here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment if you've ever experienced these moments in your own life. Now, let's get into it. Chapter 1. Listening to her. The most powerful way to reach a woman's heart isn't through extravagant gestures, lavish gifts, or rehearsed lines. It's through something far simpler yet infinitely more meaningful: listening. Not just the act of hearing her voice, but truly absorbing her words, her emotions, and the subtle meanings behind them. In a world where attention is fleeting and conversations are drowned out by distractions, the man who genuinely listens stands apart. Most men hear women talk. Few actually listen. There's a vast difference between passively acknowledging someone's words and actively engaging with them. When you pay close attention to what she says, when you really take it in, you make her feel seen, valued, and understood. And that's what every woman craves on a deep level. Not just a man who nods along or gives empty affirmations, but one who truly understands and appreciates what she shares. It's not about grand romantic gestures, it's about the small but significant act of giving her your undivided presence. Think about it. When she tells you about her favorite book, the way she takes her coffee, or the childhood dream she never let go of, she's not just making casual conversation. She's revealing pieces of herself, trusting you with glimpses into her world. A man who listens, remembers, and brings up those details later immediately stands out. Why? Because it proves he values her words, and valuing her words means valuing her. Women connect through words. They express their emotions, their fears, their joys, and their vulnerabilities through conversation. Yet, in a society where people are constantly distracted, checking their phones, lost in their own thoughts, waiting for their turn to speak, true listening has become a rare and precious trait. Too many men are focused on responding, fixing problems, or steering the conversation toward themselves. And in doing so, they miss out on an opportunity to build something deeper: trust, connection, and emotional intimacy. A woman doesn't always need a solution. She doesn't always need advice. Sometimes she just needs to be heard. When you resist the impulse to interrupt, to problem solve, or to shift the focus back to yourself, you create something invaluable, a space where she can fully express herself. And in that space, something powerful happens. Trust begins to grow. The connection deepens. And without effort or force, attraction intensifies. There is an undeniable power in presence. Ancient Stoic philosophy teaches that true wisdom is found in silence and observation. The ability to listen without waiting to respond is a rare strength. It means you are present, self-assured, and in control. A Stoic man doesn't interrupt. He doesn't listen just to reply. He listens to understand. And that understanding has the power to transform relationships. When a woman feels that level of attention, she softens, not because she's weak, but because feeling truly heard is rare. It makes her feel safe. It makes her feel special. She realizes she's not just another conversation to pass the time, you are genuinely invested in her. And here's the secret: when a woman feels heard, she opens up even more. She trusts you. She lets down her guard. She wants to be around you, drawn to you in a way she might not even fully understand. This kind of attraction has nothing to do with looks, wealth, or social status. It's deeper than that. It's the kind of connection that builds the foundation for real intimacy. But listening isn't just about hearing, it's about remembering. A man who listens without distractions, who truly absorbs what she shares, has a rare influence. But the true magic happens when he proves he remembers. When she mentions something in passing, a small detail most people would forget, and you bring it up later, you become unforgettable. It's not about memorizing facts, it's about making her feel valued. If she tells you she loves sunflowers, and weeks later you mention it when you see them at a market, she doesn't just think, "Oh, he remembers." She feels it. She feels special. If she talks about a dream she's had since childhood, and you encourage her to pursue it, she realizes you're not just another guy, you're someone who truly pays attention. And in a world full of noise, distractions, and half-hearted conversations, the one who listens, the one who remembers, is the one who wins her heart. Chapter 2. Saying her name. There's an undeniable power in a name. It's the first thing we ever own, the marker of our identity, the sound that defines us before we even understand language. And yet, most people go through life hearing their name spoken in routine, unremarkable ways, by teachers, co-workers, family, and strangers, often without a second thought. But when spoken by the right person, at the right time, a name isn't just a label. It's a trigger. A direct line to something deeper. Women don't just want to be noticed, they want to be seen. Not in a superficial way, but in a way that separates them from the rest of the world. They want to feel like they matter, not just as another pretty face, but as an individual. And nothing is more personal, more intimate, than hearing their name spoken in a way that carries weight. When a man uses her name correctly, he isn't just speaking to her, he's reaching her, connecting with something primal, something emotional. Think about it. In a world where everyone is bombarded with generic compliments and empty words, a name stands out. It isn't just another phrase lost in conversation, it's uniquely hers. It cuts through the noise. When you say her name in a way that makes her feel like the only person in the room, she won't forget it. It's not about saying it often, it's about saying it when it matters. A woman's name, spoken at the right moment, can change everything. When you reassure her, when she's feeling uncertain, anxious, or hesitant, using her name grounds her. It tells her that you see her, that she isn't just another person passing through your life. When you admire her, when you want her to know she's captivating, intriguing, or simply on your mind, saying her name makes it personal. It turns a compliment into something deeper, something that resonates. And when you tease her, when you challenge her, when you playfully push back, when you create that electric tension, her name becomes a weapon. It turns a light-hearted moment into a personal exchange that lingers long after the conversation ends. Here's the secret: overuse it, and it loses its power. Say it too often, and it becomes background noise. It's like a song played on repeat. Eventually, it fades into nothing. But say it sparingly, at just the right moment, and it strikes like lightning. It sticks. It's what makes her stop, listen, and feel something she can't quite explain. It's what makes her remember you when she's alone, replaying the sound of her own name in your voice. A woman's name isn't just a word, it's a key. Used properly, it opens doors that nothing else can. A well-timed, naturally spoken name? That's a direct hit to the heart. It creates an unconscious association, linking you to a feeling she didn't expect. It leaves a mark. The Stoics understood that words have meaning only when backed by intention. They believed that language should be deliberate, controlled, and purposeful. Flattery means nothing if it isn't rooted in truth. Attraction means nothing if it isn't built on real presence. So when you say her name, let it be real. Let it be deliberate. Let it carry weight. Because when you use her name in a way that feels effortless yet intentional, you aren't just talking, you're creating a connection that she won't be able to ignore. And once she associates her name with your voice, your presence, your energy, you don't just enter her mind. You stay there. Chapter 3: Acting Masculine and Strong. Masculinity isn't about being loud, aggressive, or trying to dominate every room you walk into. True masculinity is about presence. It's about being the kind of man who doesn't need to shout to be heard, who doesn't need to prove his strength through arrogance or intimidation. A real man is grounded. He is firm in himself, unshaken by external chaos, and moves through life with a quiet, unshakable confidence. Women don't just want a man, they want a force. A protector, not necessarily in the physical sense, but in the way he carries himself. His energy, his stability, his ability to handle life's challenges without losing his cool. That's what makes a woman feel safe in his presence. And safety isn't just about physical protection. It's about emotional security. It's about a man who is so steady, so sure of himself, that the world could be burning around him, and he would still handle it with calm precision. This is why masculinity isn't just about what you do, it's about what you don't do. You don't complain about every minor inconvenience. You don't panic when things go wrong. You don't let emotions control you. The strongest man in the room is rarely the one making the most noise. He is the one who, with just his presence, commands attention. Strength isn't just about muscles or physical power. It's about emotional stability. It's about being decisive, knowing what you want, and not second-guessing yourself. A man who constantly hesitates, who seeks approval, who bends at every inconvenience, that's not masculine. A masculine man knows what he stands for, and he stands tall without apology. He does not waste time explaining or justifying himself to people who do not matter. He simply is, and that alone makes him magnetic. This is why women melt for strong men. Not because they need saving, but because they crave certainty. In a world full of weak, confused, emotionally unstable men, a man who is solid is a rare find. He becomes an anchor, something she can rely on. And the moment she feels that, she never forgets it. A woman may forget the words you speak, but she will never forget the way you made her feel, especially if you made her feel secure. But here's where most men go wrong. They think masculinity means dominance. They believe they have to control a woman, be aggressive, or refuse to show any kind of softness. But true masculinity is the opposite of insecurity. A real man isn't threatened by a woman's independence. He doesn't need to belittle her, compete with her, or act tough just to prove something. He is simply himself, and that alone is enough. Women don't fall for men who try to control them. They fall for men who make them feel free in their presence. Real masculinity is about self-control. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that the strongest man is the one who has complete control over himself. The man who is not ruled by emotions, who does not react impulsively, who does not let external events shake his inner peace, that man commands respect without ever demanding it. He draws people in, rather than chasing their approval. Women notice everything. They see how you handle stress. They see how you react when things don't go your way. They see if you crumble under pressure or if you stand firm. They see if you're emotionally stable or if you lash out like a child. And their attraction is built on these observations. A man who is unpredictable, who is moody, who lashes out at the smallest inconvenience, he may get temporary attention, but he will never earn a woman's deep admiration. The biggest mistake weak men make is thinking that external displays of strength, aggression, loudness, arrogance are what make them masculine. But masculinity is an internal game. A truly strong man doesn't need to prove he's strong. He just is. You never see a lion screaming to prove he's a lion. You simply know by the way he carries himself. When you embody true masculinity, when you walk into a room and your presence alone demands attention without you saying a word, you don't just get attraction. You command it. You make women melt not because of what you say, but because of what you are. A man who is in control of himself, who moves through life with quiet confidence, who remains unbothered by petty things, that is the kind of man women gravitate toward. And when she finds a man like that, she won't just admire him. She'll crave him. She will fight for his attention. Because men like that aren't common. And when a woman sees a man who is rare, she won't let him slip through her fingers. Because true masculinity isn't about being a man, it's about being a man among men. Chapter 4. Pursuing her correctly. Women love being pursued, but only by the right kind of man. The way you go about it determines everything. The difference between attraction and repulsion isn't whether you chase or not, it's how you do it. A man who is confident, steady, and patient creates desire. A man who is needy, frantic, or overly persistent kills it before it even has a chance to grow. Think of pursuit as a dance. If you rush, if you push too hard, you step on her toes. If you hesitate too much, the rhythm is lost. The perfect pursuit is one of balance, where you show clear interest without ever tipping into desperation. Women don't want to feel like they are being overwhelmed, nor do they want to feel like they are the ones carrying the entire interaction. A great pursuit leaves space for mystery, anticipation, and excitement. Stoicism teaches that a wise man never clings to what he desires. He never needs, he chooses. He does not chase frantically after what he wants because he understands that true attraction is built, not begged for. When you pursue a woman correctly, you aren't throwing yourself at her feet. You're walking forward with strength, extending your hand, and letting her meet you halfway. This approach doesn't just make a woman feel desired, it makes her feel intrigued. She starts wondering about you, thinking about what makes you different from the rest. This is where most men go wrong. They either smother a woman with attention, texting too much, showing up uninvited, bending over backward in an attempt to impress, or they retreat completely out of fear of rejection. Neither works. The key is controlled, intentional action. A confident man makes his interest known. He doesn't play games or send mixed signals. He initiates. He flirts. He asks her out without hesitation. But he also knows when to stop pushing. He understands that if a woman isn't reciprocating, it's not a challenge, it's a sign. And a man who values himself never forces what isn't meant to be. This isn't about arrogance, it's about self-respect. When you respect yourself, you don't beg for validation. You don't chase someone who isn't equally invested. Here's the paradox of attraction. When a woman feels like she has to work a little to earn your attention, she values it more. When you make it too easy, when you flood her with validation before she's even invested, she doesn't feel the same spark. Women are wired to appreciate what they must earn. But when she senses that you are a man of high value, a man who doesn't give his attention to just anyone, she starts to see you differently. And here's something most men overlook. It's not just about how much attention you give, it's about how you give it. A strong man makes his presence felt without smothering. He knows that his time and energy are valuable, and he doesn't just throw them at any woman who looks his way. He communicates his interest in a way that feels natural, confident, and unforced. Women aren't attracted to men who demand attention, they're drawn to men who command it effortlessly. Women melt for men who make them feel chosen, but not owned. Desired, but not suffocated. A woman doesn't just want a man who is interested in her, she wants a man whose interest feels valuable. When you pursue a woman correctly, she doesn't just like you, she respects you. And respect is the foundation of deep attraction. The Stoics understood that control over one's emotions is the ultimate strength. A man who pursues a woman from a place of confidence, who expresses interest without ever losing his sense of self, is a man who commands attention effortlessly. He is intriguing, magnetic, and impossible to ignore. And when a woman meets a man like that, she doesn't just respond. She melts. She craves his presence. She feels drawn to his energy, knowing that he is not just another man seeking her approval, but a man who stands in his own power. Because a man who understands pursuit isn't chasing. He's leading. Chapter 5. Defending and supporting her. Women test men all the time, often without even realizing it. It's not about manipulation, it's instinct. They pay attention to how you react when they face difficulties, when someone disrespects them, or when they're emotionally vulnerable. They watch to see if you stand up for them, if you offer reassurance, and if you make them feel safe, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally as well. Nothing makes a woman feel more cherished than a man who has her back, not just when it's easy, but when it truly matters. Defending her isn't about fighting every battle for her or turning every slight into a war. A woman doesn't need a reckless hothead who explodes at every challenge. What she wants is a man who stands firm when it counts, who offers unwavering support when she needs it, and who isn't afraid to protect what he values. She needs to know that when push comes to shove, you'll be there, not because you're looking for a fight, but because you choose to stand beside her. There are different ways to defend and support a woman, and they go far beyond physical protection. First, there's emotional defense. Women live in a world where their emotions are often dismissed or invalidated. A man who truly supports her listens when she speaks, respects her feelings, and never belittles her experiences. He doesn't mock her fears or tell her she's overreacting. Instead, he reassures her with calm, steady energy. He becomes a source of stability, someone she can lean on without hesitation. Then, there's social defense. How do you react when someone speaks negatively about her in a group setting? Do you sit back and say nothing? Do you awkwardly laugh it off? Or do you subtly but firmly shut it down? A woman respects a man who isn't afraid to protect her reputation, who won't allow others to degrade or mock her. A simple statement like, "She actually works really hard at that," or "I think she handled that situation well," carries weight. It shows that you respect her, and when a woman feels respected, she feels safe. And, of course, there's physical defense. While modern society doesn't require men to fight for survival the way our ancestors did, the primal instinct still exists. Women are biologically wired to feel attraction toward men who can protect them. This doesn't mean you have to be a bodybuilder or a martial arts expert, but it does mean you carry yourself with strength, confidence, and an air of quiet authority. A woman melts for a man who makes her feel secure, not just because of his physical presence, but because of the way he handles himself, calm, in control, never easily rattled. The Stoics valued loyalty and honor above all else. A man who stands by his woman, who doesn't waver when challenges arise, and who respects her in both public and private earns her trust in a way few men ever will. True Stoic strength isn't about aggression, it's about discipline, self-control, and the unshakable ability to be a pillar of support. A man who defends a woman the right way makes her feel irreplaceable. He doesn't need to be flashy about it. He doesn't need to boast. He simply is that man, the man she can count on, the man she knows will always have her back. And when a woman feels that level of certainty in a man, she doesn't just admire him, she melts for him. Chapter 6. Treating others with kindness. A man's true nature isn't revealed in how he treats the woman he desires, it's exposed in how he treats those who hold no power over him. Women pay attention to this more than men realize. They watch how you interact with the waiter who brings your meal, the stranger who accidentally bumps into you, the person struggling with their bags in the parking lot. They notice if you treat these people with respect, patience, and dignity, or if you dismiss them as unimportant, as mere background characters in your world. This isn't just about being nice for the sake of appearances. It's about what your behavior signals. Women instinctively understand that a man who is rude to a stranger will eventually be rude to them. A man who belittles those beneath him will one day belittle her. And a man who treats others with kindness, not because he has to but because it's who he is, radiates something rare, true strength. Kindness is often misunderstood. Many men think of it as a weakness, something that makes them appear soft or submissive. But real kindness, the kind that stems from confidence and inner strength, is one of the most attractive qualities a man can have. Women aren't looking for a man who is agreeable to everyone out of fear of conflict. They're drawn to a man who chooses to be kind because he knows his worth, because he doesn't need to tear others down to feel powerful. Stoicism teaches that character is everything. A Stoic man doesn't let his emotions control him. He doesn't lash out in frustration at a slow cashier or snap at someone because he's had a bad day. He remains composed, centered, and respectful in all situations because his character is not dictated by external events. He knows that how he treats people is a reflection of his self-discipline, his values, and his inner power. And that's why women notice. Not because they're looking for perfection, but because they want to see how a man's nature holds up under pressure. A man who can stay calm when others are losing their temper, who can show patience when others rush to anger, who can treat the invisible people in society with the same respect as those in power, this is the kind of man who stands apart. And here's the truth, women melt for a man who embodies that kind of integrity. Because kindness, when it comes from a place of strength, is one of the most attractive traits a man can have. It shows that he's secure in himself, that he doesn't need to prove his dominance by demeaning others. It tells her that if he can be patient and respectful with people who hold no status in his life, he will be even more so with the woman he loves. But make no mistake, being kind does not mean being weak. A weak man is kind out of fear, hoping to win approval. A strong man is kind because he chooses to be, because he knows true power doesn't come from arrogance or aggression, but from grace under pressure. That kind of man commands respect, not just from women, but from everyone around him. Kindness is not just about grand gestures, it's found in the small, everyday moments. It's the way you thank someone sincerely, the way you listen attentively when someone speaks, the way you acknowledge and respect those who might otherwise go unnoticed. It's easy to be kind when it's convenient, but the true test of character is being kind when there's nothing to gain. Women are naturally observant when it comes to emotional intelligence. They can sense the difference between forced politeness and genuine respect. They don't just hear your words, they feel your energy. They see how you handle frustration, how you respond to mistakes, how you treat someone who can do nothing for you. These subtle cues paint a picture of your emotional stability and maturity, and that picture determines whether she sees you as a fleeting presence or as someone worth investing in. The world is filled with men who put on a show when they're trying to impress someone, but drop the act when they think no one is watching. But a man who lives with integrity, whose kindness is consistent and unshakable, stands out. Women are drawn to that because it signals something deeper: reliability, strength, and the ability to create a safe emotional environment. And let's be clear, kindness does not mean allowing yourself to be walked over. True kindness has boundaries. A strong man can be kind without being a pushover. He can be firm without being cruel. He can demand respect without demanding submission. The difference is that his strength comes from within, not from dominating others. The men who struggle the most with kindness are often the ones who fear being seen as weak. They mistakenly believe that being cold or indifferent makes them more masculine. But indifference is not strength, it's a defense mechanism. A man who is truly powerful doesn't need to act tough, he simply is. And his kindness is a reflection of that power. Women aren't just drawn to how you treat them, they're drawn to how you treat the world. Your kindness is a direct reflection of your strength. And when a woman sees a man who possesses both power and grace, both control and compassion, both discipline and warmth, she can't help but melt. She sees a man who doesn't let the world harden him, who refuses to be reactive to every inconvenience, who remains steady no matter how chaotic life becomes. And in that steadiness, she finds comfort. She finds security. She finds a man worth standing beside. Because at the end of the day, kindness isn't just a virtue, it's a sign of a man who has mastered himself. It's an undeniable force that makes him unforgettable. And when a woman encounters a man like that, she knows he is rare. She knows he is worth holding on to. And she knows she has found someone who stands above the rest, not because of what he says, but because of how he lives. Chapter 7, Smiling at Her. A confident man who knows his worth, who remains unfazed by the chaos of the world, and who carries himself with calm assurance has one of the most powerful yet underestimated weapons of attraction, a genuine smile. Not a forced, polite smile that disappears in seconds. Not a stiff, awkward grin that feels unnatural. But a real, warm, effortless smile that radiates confidence, inner peace, and a sense of grounded masculinity. A smile that tells her you're comfortable with yourself, unshaken by external pressures, and fully present in the moment. A smile that carries an unspoken message: you don't just exist, you thrive. Why is this so powerful? Because a man who can smile genuinely, even in a world full of stress and uncertainty, signals something rare: emotional stability. Women are naturally drawn to men who exude this. A man who smiles with confidence isn't worried about impressing anyone, isn't seeking approval, and isn't weighed down by insecurity. His smile is proof that he is at ease with who he is. And that energy is contagious. It's the kind of energy that makes people want to be around you, that draws women in without effort. A smile does something remarkable. It creates warmth without words. It invites connection without effort. It dissolves tension, putting both you and her in a state of ease. A genuine, unforced smile makes you instantly more attractive because it communicates something that no amount of expensive clothes, muscle, or status can replicate: inner security. That's the secret most men miss. They chase external symbols of status when the real magnetism comes from an effortless sense of confidence. The Stoics understood the power of controlling one's emotions, of mastering one's inner world regardless of external circumstances. They taught that while we cannot control the world, we can always control our reactions to it. And a man who can maintain joy, real, unshaken joy, despite life's unpredictability is a man who possesses true strength. Women feel this on a deep level. When she sees a man who smiles naturally, without trying, without effort, it tells her something crucial: this is a man who is in control of himself. And in a world full of weak men who crumble under pressure, that is deeply attractive. When you smile, you communicate far more than just happiness. You signal that you are unfazed, that you are confident, that you are in control. A genuine smile makes a woman feel safe in your presence, like she is standing before someone who is strong yet approachable, powerful yet kind. It tells her that she can lower her guard, that she can relax, that she can trust the moment with you. But here's the deeper truth: women don't just melt because a man smiles. They melt for the feeling that smile gives them. A woman doesn't just see your smile, she feels it. She absorbs the energy behind it. She feels the confidence, the playfulness, the calm assurance behind that expression. That's why some men can walk into a room and immediately command attention without saying a word. They don't have to prove anything because their presence alone speaks volumes. It's why a confident smirk at the right moment can be more powerful than any pickup line. It's why a man who knows how to smile warmly, without trying too hard, can make a woman feel special without saying a single word. A real smile isn't just about looks, it's about vibe. A weak man can smile and still come off as uncertain, insecure, or needy. A strong man, however, owns his smile. He doesn't seek validation, he already has it within himself. And this is where most men fail. They overthink it. They try to force it. They wonder, should I smile now? Will this make me look confident? Will she like me more if I grin at the right moment? And in that hesitation, in that self-consciousness, they lose all the natural power of the moment. The key isn't to try to be attractive. The key is to be so comfortable with yourself that your energy pulls people in without effort. So the next time you're with a woman, pay attention to how you carry yourself. When you smile, do it with purpose, with authenticity, and with the quiet strength of a man who knows exactly who he is. Because that is the kind of smile that doesn't just get noticed, it leaves a lasting impression. These aren't tricks. They aren't tactics. They are simply the natural byproducts of being a man who has mastered himself. The Stoics believed that true strength comes from within. And when you embody that strength, when you listen, when you lead, when you pursue correctly, when you support, when you show kindness, when you smile, 99% of women won't just notice. They'll melt. If you've experienced any of these things firsthand, drop a comment below. And if you found this video valuable, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. See you in the next one.